Stugotz here, guys. Mother's Day is coming up pretty quick. Whether it's your mom, your wife, or your sister, all moms need to hear they are appreciated and know that they are loved. So, show how much you care to the lady who taught you everything you know about caring with a Hallmark card. From sweet to sentimental to laugh out loud funny, Hallmark has a card that'll help you put your love for mom into words and let her know how much she matters. It's your way of saying thank you for all the sleepless nights and selfless acts of love. Go out and find the perfect Hallmark Mother's Day card today. You can find them wherever Hallmark cards are sold. Stugotz here. Are you hiring? Every business needs great people, and a better way to find them, something better than posting your job online and just praying for the right people to see it. ZipRecruiter knew there was a smarter way, so they built a platform that finds the right job candidates for you. ZipRecruiter learns what you're looking for, identifies people with the right experience, and invites them to apply to your job. These invitations have revolutionized how you find your next hire. In fact, 80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. And ZipRecruiter doesn't stop there. They even spotlight the strongest applications you receive, so you never miss a great match. The right candidates are out there. ZipRecruiter is how you find them. Businesses of all sizes trust ZipRecruiter for their hiring needs. And right now, our listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. One more time. It is ZipRecruiter.com/Dan. Try it for free. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
This is the best of the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz podcast.
Texter writes in with the important topic of the day. I heard Stugotz pronounce GIF like GIF yesterday. Something tells me this is also the way Mike Ryan does it. For some reason, I have a really strong conviction against this particular pronunciation. Am I alone? Guillermo, put it on the poll, GIF or GIF?
Well, I'm just going to go by the guy who invented it, and he said it's GIF. So, you could call it whatever you want.
Yeah, we've done this show 20 times. A lot of people are new to the show. As Amin said, the guy who created it says it's pronounced GIF, but he also says there's no right or wrong way to do it, so it might be a tomato-tomato thing. However, I think that cliche saying is antiquated because I have not once run into somebody who calls it a tomato.
Oh, you need to go across the pond.
So that's Amin Elhassan. He's in with us all show today. He's got very controversial opinions about Donald Glover. I don't know what I could say about Ninja Warrior and his participation in Ninja Warrior. What are the rules here? It's going to air soon. We signed all sorts of agreements and stuff. Me, Amin, Roy, Mike, Guillermo went out and partook in Miami American Ninja Warrior.
Yes, as of right now, we're still under an embargo, but an embargo gets lifted towards the end of the month, which we're rapidly approaching.
Okay, because I believe Amin is putting together the package for television. What have you been filming here recently with Guillermo in the streets of Miami related to American Ninja Warrior? Oh, Charlie up in Washington, yeah. I thought had the signature moment of the entire thing. I can't say anything else.
I'm going to posit that he still did. He still did. Charlie's, yes, he still did. We can't say anything, and I feel like if I say anything else, I have to have my lawyer on the line. Don't believe my lawyer is available today, so
right.
I don't want to, that's pretty pricey, by the way.
But you guys are convinced that Charlie had the moment? Like, have you seen
yes,
it all?
I've seen it. Amin was close.
I was there live when it happened, and it was...
Well, this is something I don't understand about Guillermo. Guillermo's got a real Clark Kent thing going. Amin here was racing one day, and Guillermo smoked him, and there's a photograph on the internet of Guillermo looking like Thor at the finish line. Just everybody was amazed by his physical gifts and his body and how heroic and manly he looked, as opposed to a bundle of neuroses. If you see the picture of Guillermo standing on the American Ninja Warrior stage, you are like, this guy is going to crush everything in front of him. Be careful, ladies. Don't get close to the obstacle course. You'll get pregnant. Everyone just move away because there's so much masculinity there.
So this is what I can say, right? Before you start, there's that archway, where it says American Ninja Warrior, whatever. And behind you, there's this massive screen where there's just graphics going. And so Billy was standing waiting for his turn, and they got the guy on the handheld camera do the panning shot as Billy stared off into the distance. His hand was on his hips. His hair was...
He looked like Tarzan running the jungle, man.
I was there. I saw him there and I was like, oh, hey, it's Billy. And then I saw the footage and I'm like, who is this?
I don't understand, okay? Because is it the glasses? What I don't understand, Guillermo, is everyone can see you're an insecure bundle of nerves. But when it comes to athleticism and when it comes to conquering, you all of a sudden go into a superhero booth and become something entirely different. We can put the picture up of Guillermo standing there, right? Can't we?
That picture went up. Because you got the afilador.
Afilador. Put that on the. You want to explain the? You want to explain the afilador to the people who might not know what Amin is talking about?
The afilador is just, your local neighborhood guy who drives around sharpening knives and tools. That's it. And I'm a big fan of the idea of this person. By the way, the shot that you're talking about, if they show it, it was so uncomfortable while it was going on because there was a guy going up and down on me for like 5 minutes with the camera.
The camera.
Phrasing.
With the
$2
camera.
dangerously close to $1
with the camera and Guillermo, you weren't quite that high. That is the sound of the Miami knife sharpener. Everyone yells afilador, runs into the streets. Because, as you may or may not know, we live in a banana republic. It's a third world country down here in Miami. You're just wandering down the street. What's that guy doing with that shrieking sound? Oh, just offering me sharpened knives. I mean, that's a horror movie. How is that not the sound in like Hostel or Saw or something?
They're hiding under the bed in a room, hoping the killer doesn't come around, and then all of a sudden you hear,
right? Tell me, and you know that what's coming is sharpened knives.
But down here, that's every day. I mean, no one even bats an eye.
That's right. No one bats an eye.
That sound, by the way, I found out is like classic. Like it goes back to when people were doing this in Spain on the back of bicycles. Like that sound, that pan flute.
It is horrifying. It is now. I have just realized that this idea from my childhood, it's horrifying. If this is coming to get you, if this is, it's midnight in a cornfield and this is coming to get you.
Let's be honest. Midnight in a cornfield, any sound is going to rattle you, right?
I'm just saying, they're sitting there, they're crying, they're shaking, and one of them whispers to the other, I think he's gone.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Midnight in a cornfield, any sound scaring you? Because I'm going to say a baby cooing in a cornfield at midnight is still scary.
I think Paul Simon's You Can Call Me Al would be terrifying in the middle of a cornfield.
At the beginning of that.
The
beginning of that is so like...
I do think... All right, let's see if we can recreate this.
It's the perfect
song.
Hold
on a second. Everybody back away.
So, let's reenact, right? Killer's chasing us. Come on. We'll lose him in the cornfield.
I don't think it's us. Is it? It's one of us.
It's got to be two people because one of them has to say to the other, I think he's gone. Right? Then we feel like, we might have lost him in the cornfield.
All right, hold on a second. But you want to do a dramatic reenactment now. Who's running through the cornfield at midnight? Who are the two people you're choosing to run through the cornfield at midnight?
Oh, man. Stugotz.
Right.
Because I feel like he'd be the one to sell somebody else out and die.
Okay. All right.
Let's see, who else? Roy, you want to be the other guy?
All right, so Stugotz and Roy.
I'm dying first, Amin. You know that.
I needed another black.
Listen, anyone with me is dying first. I'll tell you that right now.
No, but that's
I don't think
talking
you
about
missed the
different
joke.
reasons.
Yeah, got it.
You guys should see the show sheet today.
Oh, it's tremendous.
What's trending? Officer chokes 22-year-old white woman, calls police on black family's barbecue. White person reported black student to YPD for napping in dormitory. Common room. Bob Marley's granddaughter rips cops for racial profiling. Cop fired after video of him choking former NFL player. So, all right, Roy.
Jeez, man.
Right,
Who put this sheet together?
Yeah. I'm sorry to laugh at that. So, cornfield,
Right.
midnight. It is Stugotz and whom? We've decided that Roy has been killed before he's even gotten to the cornfield. So you pick someone else.
Chris.
All right. So now what is happening here? They are terrified. They're running away from.
Right. So the serial killer is coming to get them. They narrowly escaped in the farmhouse after he's tried to stab and he got stuck in the wood, and they escape. They go into the Stugotz's idea is to go into the cornfield because that's how we're going to lose him.
We have to have a killer whose music, he's awful. He or she is vulgar and terrible and something that will terrorize your neighborhood, but always comes with happy music.
His name is Al. Oh, terrified, man.
No.
You hear that whistle?
A little terrifying.
If you hear that whistle, yeah.
Just the whistle. His thing's coming to kill me. For sure.
It's the casual happy whistle before I kill you.
You guys remember the movie Fallen with Denzel Washington? And remember that?
Yeah.
And
time
is on my side.
on my side.
But the way they sang it was real creepy. Replace that song with the whistling from
Don't Worry, Be Happy. Don't Worry, Be Happy can be like a master of terror can make this song work in a trailer.
Isolate, Don't Worry, Be Happy, just the whistling. I think Amin's onto something here. I think Midnight in a Cornfield, there is little scarier than this particular killer whistling Don't Worry, Be Happy. If he sings a lyric, I'm no longer scared of him. But if he is only whistling,
just the whistle,
he's got so many cleavers.
I like the idea of him whistling and Dan being terrified and staying low, and then the guy starts to sing and Dan just stands up and looks at him like, really? Really?
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah, it is.
Dan Le Batard.
America is addicted to its technology, and it's really unhealthy.
I keep having this discussion with my wife because she is on that phone nonstop. And what I have asked for our family to do moving forward is let's figure out a time where all of us put our phones away and none of us use them till the next morning.
Stugotz.
Yeah, but nobody wants to be with you.
That just dawned on me. Thanks, Dan.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Mike, the rest of the show, please. Just songs that would not be scary in a cornfield at midnight. Just open with songs that would not be scary in any way. Before we get to some sound from Jeff Van Gundy, Amin, and let's have a timer here. The afilador will cut him off when time is up here, the knife sharpener. We went on ESPN Ooze. We went from talking about knives and the sharpening of knives to a knife commercial.
Yeah, yep.
A knife sharpener that can
the Bavarian Edge.
Yes.
The Bavarian Edge can make a credit card so sharp that you could cut a shoe with it or something like that.
It was a tomato.
Or tomato.
Yeah.
So that sound after 30 seconds, I want Amin's best 30 seconds on why nobody can beat the Warriors.
Okay. We ready?
You're 2 seconds in.
Okay. So the thing about Golden State, obviously everyone wants to talk about their stars and how they've got 2 MVPs and 4 All-NBA players. And I'm not trying to downplay that, but I think it masks what really makes them difficult is that they have so many high-level passers, right? So you look at Draymond Green, who's basically their assist leader. He's a great passer. Durant's a pretty good passer. Steph Curry's a pretty good passer. But then you get outside of those 3, and then you got David West is a good passer, Sean Livingston, Andre Iguodala, Quinn Cook. And so what
Iguodala was a point guard. Sean Livingston was a lead point guard for a team. Iguodala at one point. Those 2 seconds at the beginning hurt you where you're just putzing around.
Yeah.
Now give me 30 seconds on why Houston's going to beat the Warriors.
Well, okay. So Dan likes to say about the 3-point math. What Houston has figured out is it's not necessarily your percentage. It's just volume. Get as many 3-pointers up. And that offense is really tough to stop, particularly because you got a guy like James Harden who is one of the most unguardable players in the game today. Just his ability to create contact and get to the free throw line and generate easy points. But then beyond that, defensively, they got enough guys who are 6'8", 6'9", whether it's Capella, Trevor Ariza, PJ Tucker, and they all switch defensively. And I think in order to play the Warriors correctly, you have to have a multi-positional defense.
Can we hear some Jeff Van Gundy sound on with Golick and Wingo? He is basically Van Gundy has a way of doing this. He is basically saying Golden State, Boston.
No, he's not even saying that.
Even more radical.
Yeah.
Oh, he's saying he's saying what?
Yeah.
Golden State has a little bit more overall talent, but I think Houston has a hunger advantage that Golden State really can't match because of all their success over the last 3 years. And I think home court advantage eventually will pay off, and Houston will win in 7.
Hunger.
All right, but hold on. He's got hunger in the West, and he's got this in the East.
I'll be interested to see if Boston can score enough, but I think everyone's got it like a little bit backwards. I don't see it as I would pick Boston. If you made me give a pick, I'd pick Boston in this series.
You made him.
Van Gundy, what the hell you doing, man? Just ruining basketball. Nobody wants to watch that at the end.
Well, it doesn't mean he's right, by the way.
But what are you doing as a face and voice for NBA? How many billions of dollars do we pay for NBA rights?
Let's just say right now we made a ton of money when the Raptors got swept. Just the idea that Canada is not going to be in the finals. All the execs up in Bristol are like, whew.
The NBA has to be rooting for the best case scenario, which is the championship is going to be played in the Western Conference over the next 7 games. And then after that champion is crowned, that champion is playing against LeBron.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Like that's how that needs to happen for the league to have its most prosperous final.
Is there a bad scenario here that long term for the league where Golden State just runs right through the Rockets and then right through the Cavaliers?
They've lost 3 games since Durant's been there in the playoffs, Stugotz. They've run through everybody.
So, Stugotz, to answer your question.
I know, but now you have a team here, Dan, that a lot of people, Jeff Van Gundy is sitting here saying, yeah, I think the Rockets could beat the Warriors. Well, what happens if the Warriors sweep them in 4 or win that series in 5?
Stugotz, a year ago, we were talking about the Spurs in this way, right?
Yep.
And then they didn't. They got swept. And the Warriors handled Cleveland easily, and everyone said, "See, it doesn't matter. We all know the result before it gets played." And then you have the Rockets making these deals, and all of a sudden, wait a second, and the Rockets have a great regular season. Wait a second, and here we are. We're saying, "Oh, the Rockets are going to knock them off." And guess what? As long as Golden State keeps winning, it's true in every single sport. When you have a champion who stands on top, we're always rooting for the next guy. It's the same thing you always talk about Floyd Mayweather. Why do we watch Mayweather fight?
Sure.
Because we're watching to see him lose.
But I'm just wondering, if you have a champion who consistently is not pushed, I'm wondering if
when was Mayweather pushed?
But Jordan was pushed. Those Bulls teams were pushed.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, but this series is starting with doubt. This series,
Right.
Houston has already accomplished more than I thought they were, and not because they have the best offensive rating in a regular season in the history of the sport. They've already accomplished it because people like Jeff Van Gundy, credible people, he does that well, incidentally. Like, generally, he told you last year, hey, we don't need to play the playoffs.
Yeah.
Golden State is winning the title. We don't need to do any of this. This is a foregone conclusion. I'm surprised to hear him go with the intangible of hunger, though. It's such a it doesn't do anything for me in terms of explaining why it is or projecting why someone would win at the end in that sport.
You heard what Kerr said, right? They asked him about it. Said, hey, they're hungry. Are you guys worried about complacency? And Kerr said, no, I like where we are. Our guys have rings.
Yeah, I mean that's
cocky Steve Kerr is one of my favorite human beings.
Yes.
Cocky Steve Kerr.
Easy to be cocky when you're Steve Kerr. I am sure, incidentally, that the Raptors felt this way as well, right? Like I'm sure the Raptors were hungrier than LeBron.
Yes.
This show ain't free. Time for some ads.
Hey, Kerr. How about coach the Knicks or something? Seriously, and then say something like that. The guy's got the easiest gig in the NBA.
He was offered the Knicks job. He said, no, thanks.
I know.
Derek Fisher took it.
Very smart move. I still don't know if Steve Kerr is a good head coach. I have no idea.
My favorite story about that is, at the time, I was like, Steve, I think you should take the Knicks job.
You told Steve Kerr. All right. Amin Elhassan gave the advice to Steve Kerr. Did he ask you your opinion?
Oh, I was just talking about it. I said, you know what? Knicks, there's no expectations. The Warriors have a good team. I mean, how much better can you get with them? The Knicks, it's a build it up from the ground. Anything you do will be great.
And you just learned why Amin Elhassan went from front office insider to radio gas bag.
To having cockroaches crawling on his face.
Yeah.
Losing races, getting slaughtered,
It all started there, right there. That was the point.
At American Ninja Warrior.
Dan Le Batard.
So he was on Wingo and Golic, and I am told this is Golic and Wingo, excuse me. Whoa.
That's a fun.
Wow.
No, that's not a fine.
What do you mean?
No, what? That's not
That's not the name of the show.
That's not the name of the show.
A fine.
They only had 8 million ads.
$2, 2 names wrong, right? And be careful on tone. That's all I'm saying. $2, fork it up.
Stugotz.
You want me to front you?
No, thank you.
Good, because I don't have any money on me.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Log. Terrified. Get the feeling of being rewarded with gold status at Shell with the Fuel Rewards program. Download the Fuel Rewards app. Join and start saving 5 cents a gallon today. Here's your SportsCenter update. Stanley Cup playoffs. The Jets dominated the Predators to take Game 7. They move on to the Western Conference Finals. They'll take on the Golden Knights. Eastern Conference Finals begin tonight. Capitals and Lightning. And finally, plot details have emerged for Bad Boys 3. The film will see Marcus working as a private eye after falling out with Mike Lowry, who is going through a midlife crisis as a bachelor who finally wants to mature, all while dealing with a new young cocky partner who is loyal to Lowry, but the loyalty is not reciprocated. Mike and Marcus are brought together, again, thanks to a lean, mean Albanian killing machine with a vendetta against Mike and Marcus for killing his brother. The bad boys must reunite to bring him down. Whew. I'm there, man.
No Tapia? The bad guy in Bad Boys 2 who was playing a Hispanic but wasn't Hispanic and obviously not Hispanic? No Tapia in this one?
I don't know. I'll check it.
I'm here for Bad Boys 3. How about you, Amin?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Are you here for Bad Boys 3?
This Sports Center is brought to you by J.C. Penney.
I think it's going to be called Bad Boys for Life.
This Mother's Day, shop gifts for all the moms in your life at JCPenney. Save up to 70% off fine jewelry after an extra 20% off with JCPenney credit cards and coupons. Style and value for all. JCPenney.
Although, much better name for the fourth movie in the franchise. Bad Boys for Life. Yeah. Get the number in there.
That's the way you got to do it.
Right. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Fast and the Furious, I feel like, taught us how to use the number into the name of the movie.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Did Fast and the Furious teach us how to put a number in the name of the movie? Texter writes in, it's not a crime to be white, Dan. What is this about?
Oh, it could be about a number of things.
But what did we discuss in the first hour and a half of the show that I'm getting a text that says it's not a crime to be white when really the discussion America is having right now, if you look at mass incarceration, it is a crime to be black. Yeah. So that's where we are. Yeah. And the prison system is filled with black people who are complaining about it, and Colin Kaepernick's not working in the league while kneeling about it, and you're objecting to something I said as if it's a crime to be white. I don't even know what it is.
I think it was when you rattled off the first few stories in the show sheet.
But those are facts.
And also,
those are all headlines. I wasn't doing anything other than reading the show sheet.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, every single one of these stories does not have white people being arrested or charged with anything. It's quite the opposite. Like, officer chokes 22-year-old during Waffle House arrest. All right, so the 22-year-old is the person who's been in a crime or whatever. White woman calls police on black family's barbecue for trespassing. Again, in this case, it's a crime to be black and barbecuing. A white person reported black student napping in the dormitory common room. Again, the crime here is to be black and napping. Bob Marley granddaughter ripped cops for racial profiling. Again, it's a crime to be black. And then the last one, cop fired after video of him choking former NFL player. All right, this one maybe a little bit, but he wasn't charged or arrested. He was just fired. So no, you're right. It is not a crime to be a white person. At most, you might get fired.
Let's get back to what Jeff Van Gundy is saying. The idea of a Houston. Where was I going to transition there? Where was I going to go? Tell me what the transition was.
There was no
Look,
transition.
man, I come here, man. Like, what do you want from me? How was I supposed to transition out of that?
You could have gone from, like, I would have done this. Speaking of fired, Brett Brown.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
That is the magic crate of content. Whenever that music plays, it means we have to go inside it. There are a lot of magical questions in it. And here is the one Stugotz has picked from the magical crate of content. If you could live in any TV home, which one would it be?
Silver spoons. Done.
You went old school. Okay.
I did.
Right,
I mean, it was a mansion. He had a train inside the house that took him all around the house. Like, that's my house.
All right. So for those of you who don't know, Silver Spoons weren't watching children's shows in the 80s.
It wasn't a children's show.
Okay. Fair enough. A show about a child. Silver spoons. Anyone got anything in the last 40 years?
DuckTales.
Oh, ooh. Yeah. That's branding right there. Synergy. They have an actual department at Disney called Synergy, and it just does things like that. Makes Mike Ryan say DuckTales on another Disney platform.
The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh,
wow.
good answer.
Great house.
Great house.
To get thrown out of.
Pool house? In the pool house or in the main house?
Ooh.
Oh, the main house.
Hillary lived in the pool house, right? And then Will moved in with her?
No, Will moved in with Carlton into the pool house when Hillary left to marry Trevor.
Trevor.
Yeah.
Trevor.
But Trevor, remember what happened to Trevor?
Yeah, tragic.
Hillary, will you marry?
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. Bungee jumping while proposing
Ooh.
on TV.
Ooh.
Yeah. Turns out that was a bad idea for Trevor.
For everybody, it sounds like. I mean.
They made it work.
You know, I've never seen a death handled with such humor.
So wait a minute.
No, by the way, I want to point out something. While we're on this topic of TV shows, it wasn't on the topic sheet, but where did the TV theme song go? Where did it go? We went from an era where every show had an amazing theme song to now we don't really deal with
Alan Thicke died.
Oh.
Took them all with him.
Yep.
Didn't he do the Jeffersons? He did Different Strokes. What else? Facts of Life he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, now they're all using songs that have already existed.
Yeah,
isn't it isn't.
Is there
the
no?
same.
What is the last great television theme song to make an appearance? Is it Friends?
A lot of people are going to say Game of Thrones, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about one with lyrics. You got, man.
But it's usually sitcoms, right?
Yeah. But
there haven't been many good, like, original sitcoms, like, good sitcoms made lately.
I'm just saying, like,
Does Modern Family have a song?
Modern
It's like a
Family
little piano
has,
riff.
yes, they have a piano riff.
Yeah, I don't like the trend of using an existing song, and I think Cops started that whole trend.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was awesome with Cops. It worked for Cops.
It worked perfect.
That was the transition. Bad Boys.
There you
Was the damn it.
Let's start the segment over.
Catch more of the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz, 10 to 1 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Washing my nose, oh yeah.
I'm a shower curtain, and I do one thing, keep water from leaking everywhere. So you see why I feel useless compared to Geico, who does so much more. Like, not only could Geico save you money, but they've been around for over 75 years, and they give you 24/7 access online, over the phone, or on the Geico app. And they've got a 97% customer satisfaction rating. They do all this while I have to listen to this chucklehead. Oh, good, he stopped.
Washing my toes.
Oh, great, an encore.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Every week during the baseball season, ESPN's premier baseball insider joins Dan and Stugotz to drop some hardball knowledge and take your calls.
Honey got me swishing like a dreadlock. She don't wrestle, but I got her in a headlock. Yabba dabba doo, make her bedrock.
Yeah! Here is Dan Le Batard, Stugotz, and Tim Kirchen on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Small business protection just got easier with more than 30 coverage options available. Progressive has you covered. More at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Tim Kirchner going to join us right now on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, 786-456-4837. Here's your SportsCenter update. Matt Harvey has joined the Reds and will start tonight versus the Dodgers. It's a picture of Matt Harvey on Twitter right now in the Reds jersey. What is he doing? Yawning. Have fun with that, Cincinnati. Blake Bortles, like most of his passes, intercepted and helped with the arrest of a would-be thief at teammate Brandon Linder's home. And finally, Michael Bolton admitted to People magazine that he's been catfished. If you forgot that Mother's Day is this Sunday, you only have a few hours to fix it. Luckily, 1-800-Flowers is offering up to 40% off best-selling bouquets and arrangements. For details, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, enter code DAN. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to the SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
So Tim Kirchen joins us every week. Baseball, etiquette questions, whatever you got, conundrums, 786-456-4837. He is a fundamentally decent human being, the nicest person we know around here who works on the show. So he answers all questions. I want to ask you guys, cartoons, in terms of cartoon looks like on our game. DeAndre Jordan looks like a cartoon moose. O.J. Mayo looks like a cartoon piece of broccoli. Ty Lue looks like a cartoon fish, not to be confused with the Denzel Washington, a cartoon fish at the very bottom of the sea. And I ask you this: does Lamar Jackson look like a cartoon carrot? Do we like among the in the cartoon categories?
Look it up, right?
Yeah, you got to look up Lamar Jackson. Just think draft night, cartoon carrot. Tim Kirkshin joins us now, and what I wanted to ask you, we were talking about this Mariners pitcher, Jim Paxton, who had 16 strikeouts in one game and then a no-hitter in the next game. He's 28 or 29 years old, so he's not any kind of young phenom. But, Tim, is it possible in the modern age for a guy to announce himself to America as a baseball star that way, as baseball, outside of the playoffs becomes more and more of a regional sport?
Yeah, I think it's possible, Dan. Now, he's gotten hurt a whole bunch of times. He's had some dominant starts before these last two. Everybody knew in the game 5 years ago this guy has a chance to be really good. He just kept getting hurt. So he's a hard-throwing left-hander who throws a bunch of fastballs up in the strike zone, and nobody can hit him right now. But, yes, he's the second pitcher ever to have a 15-strikeout game. He had 16 and a no-hitter in either order, back-to-back starts. It's him and Max Scherzer. So, yes, he has announced himself officially. People in the game already knew this guy's got great stuff and has for several years.
Tim, you got a theory for us as someone who loves baseball as much as you do. The way the sport has fallen in national prestige, the stars of the sport who transcend the sport, not the guys you love like Bryce Harper and Mike Trout, but the stars who transcend your sport. Who are they?
Well, they are Mike Trout, they are Bryce Harper. Those are two of the best players. Mike Trout is the best player.
No, but I'm talking about who then become a household name with the Oprah crowd, who have a stardom outside of baseball.
I'm not sure baseball does very well at that. You've said this a million times, Dan. The stars in the NBA are treated like stars all the time. And because you're so close to them, you can almost touch them during a game. And they touch the ball 80 times a game. That's how you get on the Oprah show. But in baseball, there's so much failure involved. You can be such a bad player certain days. You're not always the best player on the field, and therefore you don't become this household name off of it because someone goes to see you play, you go for 5 and strike out 4 times. It happens that way in baseball, not nearly as much in the other sports.
Timmy, do you believe that the Mets intentionally traded Matt Harvey to the worst possible place, the Cincinnati Reds?
No, they released Matt Harvey. They told him, we don't want you anymore. And then they basically found a way to get potentially some help in return. We know their catchers are hitting under 200 this year. Maybe Devin Mesoraco can find whatever he once had. So no, Sandy Alderson is not that way. He's not a vengeful person that way. But he is, when you push him far enough, he goes, all right, that's it. It's over. And that's why they DFA'd Matt Harvey.
It's a better story if they did, though, isn't it?
Well, that's why you went with it, with no facts whatsoever. Does Bill Polian look like the driver of the tractor you've been trying to pass for the last 5 miles? Does Jackie McMullen look like your substitute teacher who says, I'll wait, and doesn't talk again until the class quiets down? Does Jeff Fisher look like the guy who took that photo of Jim McElwain with his shark friend? Jeff Fisher does look like the sea, man. Paul, just the sea. Paul, you're on with Tim Kirkshin. Go ahead.
Hey, Tom. I'm going on a month-long road trip across the contiguous United States. Which minor league ballpark do I have to see? Also, I'll call you guys from the road next week to update you. Thanks, bye.
Okay, I didn't get the direction. Where
minor league park? What minor league park does he have to see on a trip around the United States?
Okay, again, Dan, I'm the last guy to ask about this. I've covered a game in 56 big league parks. I just don't have time anymore to go to minor league parks. So I would advise him incorrectly if I told him you have to go here, because I don't know where the great parks are anymore because I haven't been to a minor league park in a long time. My job takes me to major league park. Sorry.
I mean, what are you doing? What are you doing? You distracted me while I was talking, making me read that LeBron is a great father, great husband, generous philanthropist.
had Maverick Carter, Rich Paul, and Randy Mims, and all of these guys. I mean, but listen, man, there's people that's working within the Cavs organization that he's helped get started. There's thousands of kids he's gotten scholarships for. I mean, Max, you're right. I'm sorry. I left that out. My bad. I'm sorry. I left it out. Did I leave anything else out? I just want to make sure, Max. Did I leave anything else out?
But it's only a 2-hour show.
All right, so he's agitated because LeBron is not being, is it too much of a philanthropist?
Breaking news.
It says breaking news. LeBron is a great father, great husband, generous philanthropist.
How can that be debated?
Vigorously, heatedly.
They've actually been using this lower third throughout the week. It's really confused us, and they do it there as a sort of joke because they get all those good things out to say about LeBron so no one can counter Stephen A. with it, so we can actually get to criticizing the man.
That's funny. Sid, you're on with Tim Kirkshin. Go ahead, Sid.
Tim, Nick Markakis has nearly 1,000 OPS, and the Braves are good somehow. What the hell?
Well, Nick Markakis has had an interesting career. As you know, he's got over 2,000 hits. He's going for 3,000. I don't think he's going to get there, but he's never made an all-star team. He's never even received a 10th place vote for the MVP in any season, and yet you ask the Orioles how much they miss him on a daily basis as a pro, they'll tell you every day. So he's having a great year, and he's a big reason why the Braves are where they are, because he's a settling hand on a really young team.
Burke, you're on with Tim Kirkshin. Go ahead.
Hey, Tim. Are the Cardinals really good, or do they need to make a trade at the deadline? Also, Cardinals manager Mike Matheny looks like the guy that your mom has a crush on.
The Cardinals are not really good, but the Cardinals are good, and the Cardinals are better than I thought they'd be, and they've had all sorts of things go wrong, and things are going to get better once they figure out the bullpen situation and a few other things. To me, they have a real shot to win a playoff spot. I think the Cubs are the best in the division. But, yes, they could always use another trade for another starting pitcher, and that goes for just about every other team.
Timmy, any chance Rafael Palmeiro at the age of 53, who got a hit in his first action with the independent team, he got a single, he was 1 for 2 last night, any chance he makes it back to the big leagues?
Oh, come on.
No, there's no chance.
What?
As you know, nobody wanted any part of him, and he had 500 homers and 3,000 hits. He was a pariah back then. I don't see any chance of him coming back, but he was a great hitter in his time with a beautiful swing, and I think it's great he's playing with his son, but he's not going to return to the big leagues.
Does Trey Wingo look like a statue that has come to life and speaks in a movie?
It's tremendous.
Is Nick Foles someone who looks like your neighbor who gestures like an airplane ground crew member each time his wife parks the car? Does Will Cain look like your wife's brother who borrows money from you, begs you to keep it secret to spare him the embarrassment, then uses your money to look like a big shot in front of the family?
I've done that.
Mike, you're on with Tim Kirkshin. Go ahead.
Hey, Tim, why is it that a batter on a check swing, the umpire, they can ask the base umpires that the pitcher and catcher can, but the batter can't?
The batter can always turn to the umpire and say, I didn't go there. And that happens actually all the time. It just happens quietly. It's not, a blatant point there. But sure, a hitter's allowed to say, hey, I didn't go. Ask the third base umpire. Sure, the catcher does it more, but the batter is allowed to do it, and he does it.
Does Brad Stevens look like he sang in an a cappella group in college? Does Frank Isola look like he bit Rick Pitino 3 centuries ago?
The Iceman.
Does Quinn Snyder look like your neighbor whose work-life balance is so shot that he hastily mows the lawn each week in his 3-piece suit and waves to you, yelling, "Living the dream, Mark," as he closes the garage and heads back into the house? He does, man.
Quinn Snyder that's your new Jim Tom Sula. I'm telling you, that guy looks hilarious.
He looks like everybody. Tim, we'll talk to you next week. Thank you, sir.
Show me the money.
I want you to look at Stugotz's face right now. He is the worst possible face and spokesman for Dollar Shave Club.
What?
Like, couldn't be worse.
What do you mean?
I mean, your face looks like it's rotting.
But how about on Mondays?
That rot is growing from your face.
Dan Le Batard.
I finally found a guy who seems to be credible, who in print has lent to what I've been saying for a couple of years now, that Elon Musk is a quack.
So I asked Stugotz, what does the article say about him? And he just keeps repeating. He says he's a quack.
Yeah, he just keeps saying quack. And then you ask him, did you read the article? And he says, quack, quack. It's like talking to a duck.
Stugotz.
Elon Musk is a...
What's the headline? Because it's why you clicked on it. And then you said, get me this writer. He's credible.
I don't know how to pronounce this word. Would you mind reading the headline?
Elon Musk is a messianic huckster. So he is giving off Messiah, but he's a Messiah fraud.
Exactly. I was talking about huckster, but thank you.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Guillermo, put it on the poll here as I see on the televisions and basketball. We miss you. Rodney Hood apologizing for not entering a game in the fourth quarter. Guillermo, put this on the poll. Is Rodney Hood going to ever do anything in basketball that gets remembered more than refusing to enter a playoff game? That was fairly amazing to watch. If you are Rodney Hood, even understanding the temperament of athletes, even understanding that within the team concept, a lot of guys want to get theirs and that you could be selfish. You cannot be on the team of LeBron James refusing to enter a game when you have been a career nobody playing in Utah and you're an afterthought in almost every game you've ever played in.
Dan, there's two things to remember. One is when most players take umbrage of being put into a game, it's usually because there's 30 seconds left and dude, I'm not going to walk in there. There was 7 minutes left in that game. There's plenty of time for him to go out and get some cheap, easy buckets. And you might say to yourself, well, why does he care about cheap, easy buckets? Guess who's a free agent this summer? It's the last thing you want to do is have this kind of story come out about you. Dumb.
I'm trying to remember another guy that had this kind of self-opinion that was so much larger than what the nation is listening to this right now and being like, wait, Rodney Hood did what? Why?
Who's Rodney Hood is what the nation is saying.
Yes, that's who's Rodney Hood. And that he's a serviceable NBA player doesn't change that. What are you doing refusing to go into an NBA playoff game where you would have been finishing off the Raptors?
Was it Pippen who refused to go back into a game?
Yeah, but he did something.
No, I know, and people got mad at him, and he's a Hall of Famer.
Well, but he did it. He did it worse.
Right.
He did it at the end of a close game, refusing to go in because the play wasn't called.
It was a playoff game,
and it was a playoff game. It was against the Knicks, and he actually talked about it on the Jump this week. And his thing was he felt like Phil was trying to play mind games. It had nothing to do with the play is not for me or it is for me. It was about Phil Jackson doing something that had an ulterior motive under it.
We're going to get to Amin Elhassan's Black in My Day in 10 minutes. But Pau Gasol has written a letter to the Players Tribune in which he advocates for Becky Hammon to be hired as an NBA coach. Mm-hmm. Is this going to happen, Amin? Is this going to happen soon where an NBA team is run by a woman?
So that's not.
No, coached by a woman.
Yeah. So this was actually a hot topic on Twitter this week, and I hate to make Twitter actually real or whatever, but when she was mentioned as a coaching candidate, I said, there's never been someone who sits in the back row who gets a head coaching interview. A lot of people took that to me as misogynistic. Oh, you don't want to see women coach. I said, no. I'm just telling you that if you look at the history of the league, first of all, no one's ever interviewed from the back row to a head coaching position. For those of you that don't know, if you watch an NBA game, you see the players, you see the head coach, and you see a couple of assistants next to them. Those are the lead assistants. And then the people in the row behind them are injured players, training staff, and other coaches who are lower on the totem pole or higher on the totem pole. I don't know which it is.
It's lower.
Got it. Thank you. That's first. And then second, I said, we've never had a coach in this league who neither played in the league, nor was a head coach somewhere meaningful, like in college or international or G League, or hadn't been an assistant for 5 or 6 years, right? She's been an assistant for 4 years, sitting in the back row. So I'm not here saying that she can and can't coach or she should or shouldn't coach. That's not my point. My point is, if she were to get a head coaching job in her current situation, it would be unprecedented regardless of gender.
The Van Gundys came through this pipeline. The Van Gundys are a basketball name. Right. What does Jeff Van Gundy say on this subject?
It's hard. There's so many qualified assistants who've done it for a long, long time and are dying not only just to get an interview, but to get that one chance. And I don't think she'll get one right now because I don't think she has been on a bench yet. I think that would be the next step for her.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. Adrian Wojnarowski is now reporting. Basketball's funny this way. Coach of the year, Dwayne Casey fired.
Coach of the year.
It's messed up, man.
Number 1 seed in the East. That is messed up. So Dwayne Casey's dream of just being around once LeBron finally stops playing basketball, that dream is shattered today.
Well, yeah, I mean, but LeBron was shattering that that dream every time he stepped on a court. That's fairly amazing, though, to see Coach of the Year. You don't know. When was the last time this happened? I think it happened. Did it happen to George Karl?
Lionel Hollins.
Fired after being Coach of the Year. The coach, it doesn't matter that much in that sport if the Coach of the Year gets fired.
No, it's not because the coach doesn't matter. It's because we are in a society and a culture, particularly in basketball, where very results driven. And if the result isn't what we want, we don't know where to ascribe the blame. So we say, you, it's your fault.
It could be that, though. Could it also be that they know there's a coach that they really like that is they believe to be more qualified than Casey, the Coach of the Year, but it's someone that they like a lot more than the guy that they have.
Absolutely. And
there's some names out there.
If you have a name in mind, I'm with it. But a lot of times, Stugotz, it's not that. They're just getting rid of it because they don't know what else to do. What else can we do?
Right.
And if it's a personnel issue, then, you got the wrong players. So whose fault is that? That's the GM's fault, right? So it's not my fault.
Is there anyone in sports who looks more like a sad clown without makeup than Dwayne Casey? If I Guillermo, put it on the poll, Budenholzer against Casey on this one. Sad clown without makeup. Who wins that one?
I could just see Budenholzer with the red nose on and just like,
a sad clown. He's not wearing the makeup, though. By the way, if you think that Stugotz is fraudulent, the entire character wants to do a different sports show than the one we're doing because during the break, I'm not making this up. He just blurted, like he's got some sort of sports opinion Tourette's. Yes, it would be. He just blurted. There was no context to the conversation. I don't know what he was talking about. He just blurted, yes, it would be. And he was reading the highly questionable third question. Would it be the smart move for the Knicks to hold out Porzingis all of next season and just tank? And Stugotz was having a conversation with a sheet of paper where he felt the need to give the sheet of paper his opinion.
The sheet of paper doesn't talk back.
Dan Batard.
We have a montage
of
useless sound that will be for. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with my voice. What do you want me to do?
I can't relate at all. I cannot relate.
Stugotz.
I'll tell you what happened there. I just shoveled 4 turkey sticks into my face without using my hands. And I ate them the way that a pelican might.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Dan is really broken up about the Dwayne Casey news, so we need to take a segment off. Mike Ryan, for some reason, told me to reset the show and give Amin Elhassan's bona fides out. Why do I need to give bona fides out?
Well, that's not how I wanted it to go. I just wanted us to do a solid, producer co-host kind of deal. But all right, because people are listening and they have no idea who Amin is sometimes.
Yeah. Everyone knows who Amin is.
Amin's the guy that told Steve Kerr to take the Knicks job.
No.
That's my bona fide.
I'm out for Black in My Day.
Oh, that.
I guess he got over it.
It is time to go on a journey that reminds Dan and Stugotz how out of touch they are. Here's your guide, Amin Elhassan, with Black in My Day.
Oh, man. I'm really excited about this one. So, guys, I travel a lot. You all know this. I live in Phoenix, but I fly everywhere for work. I fly to Connecticut to do Sports Center. I fly to the Bay and Cleveland for the finals every mother-loving year. I fly to Miami to do this fair show, but there's nowhere I fly to more than the City of Angels, Los Angeles, where despite the protestations of tens of people on Twitter, I continue to do The Jump, Sports Nation, Nacion, Mornings with Keyshawn, George, and LZ, among many, many, many other ESPN properties I provide grade A content for. No big deal. I don't know if you guys saw the Roaches thing. It made it on Sports Nation yesterday. Just throwing it out there.
Where is this going?
In many of these cities, Mike, especially in LA, my day starts with a trip to the breakfast buffet. They've got the usual fare. Some eggs, some oatmeal, some toast, croissants, assorted swine-based products, astaghfirullah, and fresh fruit. Strawberries, pineapple, blueberries, and watermelon. Today's Black in My Day is about food, Mike. I love watermelon. I love watermelon. It's so refreshing. It's sweet to the taste, crisp texture, and the water can cure even the most intense alcohol-induced dehydration. But every time I'm loading up on my plate with breakfast foods, I hesitate when coming across a watermelon dish. You see, that's the ultimate privilege you people have. You can pick up anything you want and eat it with nary a judgment rained down upon you from society. See, white people are stereotyped for eating bland food, but no one knows how bland it is unless they actually taste it. Other cultures may get stereotyped for what they eat, but much of that cuisine cannot be identified by sight, and the more exotic items are only consumed rarely. Now, only the black man must suffer the ignominy of being judged by what he eats in its simplest form. I mean, honestly, who hasn't enjoyed that first bite in a cool slice of watermelon on a summer day? Or been seduced by the wafting aroma of fried chicken in the air? Or had their thirst quenched by a gulp of ice-cold red Kool-Aid? Not cherry or whatever the hell the flavor is called on the packet. Red. See, I didn't name any exotic cuisine or uncommon preparations of food. Or anyone of any other ethnicity walking around eating watermelon, fried chicken, and drinking Kool-Aid, no one would even bat an eye. On the contrary, I think for most of the population, these are all considered tasty and delightful treats.
I'd look at that person and be like, that's delicious.
But the mere sight of the color of my skin turns me into a living, breathing stereotype. Why should I feel guilty or self-conscious about my love for crispy fried chicken drumstick? Hell, we got 3 fried chicken-centric franchises in this country. Surely they don't all exist solely to serve black people. What kind of sense does that make? Luckily, I don't believe our fate is accompli, as the Latin speakers might say. Not as long as bright minds like mine are hard at work. Dan, I figured it out. I had to reduce the stigma of consuming the sustenance I love to enjoy in public. Red Kool-Aid? Give me an opaque drinking vessel. Fried chicken? Remove that skin and spray some Febreze. As for watermelon, this is my favorite part. So I go to the breakfast buffet in LA every morning, right? And they got the watermelon there. And what I figured out is I load the watermelon at the bottom of the bowl and then just camouflage it with other fruit on top.
Nice.
And then everyone just says, oh, he's got a bowl of fruit, as opposed to look at him go after that watermelon. He must love it. I'm Amin Elhassan, and that's how it was back in my day.
All right. Very good. It's good. I don't, you sort of bypassed. How do you do the fried chicken? You Febreze?
Yeah, you got to remove the skin so it just looks like regular chicken. Then you got to Febreze out there because, the smell is so recognizable.
But is fried chicken without the skin still fried chicken?
Well, they don't know it. It looks like regular chicken.
I know, but does it taste like fried chicken? I feel like fried chicken without the skin ceases to be fried chicken.
Oh, no, that flavor's in there. It's embedded.
Really?
Am I wrong about this?
No, I'm with you.
No, don't get me wrong. I love the skin. It's delicious. But you can also taste, if you give me some chicken, this one was fried with the skin removed, and this one was just regular something else. I can tell, this one was the fried one.
Guillermo, put it on the poll. Does fried chicken without the skin taste like fried chicken?
So unclear how the start of that really tied into the overall message.
Yeah.
It was about food.
Yeah, but it was just you taking the very circuitous route.
Yeah, you were giving me your resume.
You gave us your resume for no good reason.
My bona fides,
right.
Well,
I didn't need to give them.
There you go.
Right.
And there you go, Mike. You tried to coach Stugotz up on the bona fides. Amin was going to give them to you himself. Where do we stand on this restaurant reservation? Where are we?
I mean, I don't know. You have to ask the guys. I did a reservation for Mother's Day. We do it every single year at a restaurant up in Boston.
It's slimy. It's gross. He's a snake. He has no shame. He always gets the reservation.
Now, I would say 80% of the time we do these. We ask the restaurant for permission to air it afterwards. They say yes. This particular restaurant did not say yes on this. So I don't know where we've all tried calling them. I've left a message. Mike, where is this at right now? Do we know?
We're in a bit of a holding pattern right now. They do have a deadline, and we are fast approaching that deadline because if we air it, we need to air it within the next 30, 40 minutes.
Yes. So this restaurant has declined. How good do you guys feel about this one?
Well, at this point, this one's been hyped up to a place that I'm not sure that we can really deliver on. But we got to go through it because we have to give the people a payoff. But I'm almost fearful that it's going to disappoint considering the buildup. I mean, this is a payoff for an entire show's work.
I mean, it's the first time we've talked about it on the national show. I understand what you're saying. We did build it up during the local hour. I told everyone that it was funny. We never do that, so I'm a
Let's see what we've got. I mean, give us that stat you were looking at that excites you.
If Dwayne Casey wins Coach of the Year, he'll be the 5th black coach in a row to be fired within 2 years of winning the award.
It's not a crime to be white, I mean.
Catch more of the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz, 10 to 1 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. Dan Le Batard.
Carlos Boozer went on highly questionable. If you're not familiar with this, it's basically shoe polish on the head. If you're balding or you got spots there, I used to use on television a can of hair.
Stugotz.
You just sprinkle like a can of hair in a spot, and it would just cover up. It's like gray spackle.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Tune in tonight as the Mets play the Phillies. It's 7:05 Eastern on ESPN+. Here's your SportsCenter update. David Price, who will start tomorrow, says Fortnite wasn't the reason why he suffered from carpal tunnel syndrome, but he will no longer play the video game at Fenway Park. Jim Harbaugh says he is looking into new potential ways to provide some more compensation for his players without making them full employees. How about you just go to the NCAA and say, I think the players should be paid? How about that?
It'd totally work.
Well, how about you get with Nick Saban, you get with Urban Meyer, you get with all the coaches that actually have a voice and have some influence, and you lobby for the kids to get paid? How about that?
This is amazing. You're criticizing him for not doing something while he's announcing he's doing something.
I'm giving him an easier way. I am happy that he is looking into doing something. I give him credit for that. I'm saying the easiest way is go to Mark Emmert and say, I think these kids should be paid. Otherwise, I'm not going to have him play football anymore at Michigan. How about that? Do that. See what Mark Emmert does. Probably nothing. And finally, Ice Cube claims the Qatari government wanted to bribe Steve Bannon through the Big Three basketball league. A lot of questions. This SportsCenter is brought to you by JCPenney. This Mother's Day, shop gifts for all the moms in your life at JCPenney. Save up to 70% off fine jewelry after an extra 20% off with JCPenney credit cards and coupons, style and value for all. It's all at JCPenney. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter at ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Baseball, because of its pace, has a lot of funny controversies like this. They're mostly stupid. Team loses. Ricky Henderson and Bobby Bonilla were playing cards in the clubhouse during a playoff game. They don't care enough. David Price is playing Fortnite. Baseball's really slow. Ichiro spends all of his time in the outfield stretching because he's just bored. And what I wonder is if you combine baseball specifically with the Boston zealotry around baseball, do you get Pablo Sandoval controversy because he's liking women on Instagram from the toilet? Do you get John Lackey's fried chicken and beer that we get throughout sports, but when the Red Sox are winning the championship, hey, it's cute that Kevin Millar did shots before the game and had all his teammates do it, but when they lose, the fried chicken and the beer become the reason for the losing. What I'm asking you is, does anyone have this history the way Boston has this recent history where that particular team, the guys can't behave like that? They can't behave like baseball's boring. David Price, pitching once of every 5 days, can't be playing Fortnite during the game. He's got to be cheering on his teammates while Kawhi Leonard isn't anywhere near his teammates. He's taking in boring Dodger games.
Yeah, but Fortnite, carpal tunnel, that can hurt your hands, the fingers, all that stuff. He needs those. Those are valuable. I would understand the Red Sox saying, hey, if you're playing Fortnite too much, stop playing Fortnite.
I'm not objecting to the criticism.
I just wanted to get that in there.
Okay, very good. Yeah. Does Boston do this controversy? What other cities are doing this?
Philadelphia.
But where? Where are they?
I mean,
no, I'm asking for examples that have actually done this. Like, I don't care whether Pablo Sandoval is in the toilet liking Instagram photos. He's in the toilet. Like, maybe he should be going over advanced scouting reports. I'm just happy if he's in the toilet that he's getting rid of some of the food instead of consuming it.
Yeah, Ken Griffey Jr. took a nap, right?
I mean, Lee Smith used to do that all the time. Lee Smith wasn't needed till the ninth inning, so he'd just be sleeping on the massage table.
It's slow. You got to fill your time.
Is it a baseball thing or is it a Boston thing?
I think it's both.
So you're saying you'd be okay if I was playing Fortnite right now?
Well, you have something that you have to be doing during the show. Pablo Sandoval doesn't need to be doing anything else while he's going to the bathroom.
Well, joke's on you because I have been playing Fortnite.
Okay, very good.
Attaboy.
I don't care what you're doing during the show. Just occasionally be DJ Khaled.
Fortnite's the best! Another one.
Just occasionally be Dr. Phil.
What are you doing? I'm playing Fortnite.
I'll just keep going. I have a child!
Yes! Yes! Get on!
I'll just keep going.
Peppers.
You were scared yesterday of your Stephen A. Smith impersonation. That was right on the line and only allowed because it was a single word.
Well, Kirk and Fortnite.
I believe Tim Kirkshin has an opinion on what that game is.
Dan, Fortnite is really good.
Is that it? Have we exhausted the arsenal? All right, you can go back to Fortnite. We don't need you anymore. You might want to work on expanding the bona fides.
That's pretty good, though.
Oh, no, that's a good list.
Oh, he's great.
It's pretty good. They're all super limited, but it's a really good list.
All right, let's do this then. All right, let's have at it. Mike, go ahead and give me any of the characters you want commenting on Fortnite. Any of them that you want. Oh, really? You're starting away from the microphone. I wonder which one's coming.
Been gone for a while. I mean, this guy.
Fortnite's the best, dude! And by the way, thanks for the za.
That is Surfer Guy far away from the mic who usually only analyzes hockey, but for some reason is now analyzing Fortnite.
He's in the esports now.
There's a death metal guy I'd like to hear talk about
Well,
Fortnite.
how does Mel Kiper feel about Fortnite?
Definitely love Fortnite. Got some RPG elements. Not as good as Call of Duty, but definitely up there.
I don't do any impersonations except for that one from Harry Met Sally.
Oh, really?
Don't do that. It hasn't aged well. Don't do it.
Don't do that. Bye.
Yeah.
Stugotz, you don't do any impersonations, do
Really?
you? Amin does a Barack Obama that I heard for the first time yesterday that I thought was excellent.
Well, Stugotz, you do that Christopher Walken so well.
That Christopher Walken you did so well when you were put on the spot and asked to improv.
Fortnite.
Just terrible. His Christopher Walken is... I don't know what it is. It's almost as bad as my father's British accent, which is just cheerio, cheerio. What is your Barack Obama, though? You want to give us some, how does Barack Obama feel about Fortnite?
Now, Dan, I haven't played Fortnite, but I think it's a good fun game. Now, some folks are going to say, they don't like that. They don't want you playing those games. I also do a DMX, by the way.
Wait a minute.
I do a DMX.
Do you do a DMX better than Mina Kimes?
I don't know anyone can touch Mina Kimes.
All right. Well, Mina Kimes does a limited fake DMX that is pretty terrible that we put to song that we will have compete against Amin's DMX in a second. But we first get to Amin Elhassan's DMX.
You know, Dan Batard. Man, I like this show.
That's good.
You go high and then you go low. That's it.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But shouldn't he have been commenting on Fortnite?
On Fortnite?
Whose is better, Amin's or Mina's?
Because you know when the dog likes to play Fortnite, the dog gonna get it.
Your Barack is really strong. The Obama is really strong. If you want to give us any more.
How about my walking?
We gonna rock, then we gonna roll, then we let it pop, don't let it go.
X gonna give it to ya.
He gon' give it to ya.
X gonna give it to ya.
He gon' give it to ya.
Do any of the other characters, Mike, want to make an appearance commenting on Fortnite? Or are you done? Are you finished? Surfer Guy is all you have. And Mel Kiper.
I have Surfer Guy that stands even further away from the mic.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I could do without hearing from him.
You sure did. I'm here munching on some za.
That sounds suspiciously like this other guy who was just... Distance sounds the same to me.
No, dude, I'm so much further.
That's a baseball palm tree.
Munching on some za.
That's my dog.
The David Price Fortnite controversy, though, I do find it. Look, man, it's just the last 3 of these that I've seen, so maybe they're happening everywhere else in sports. But if a Boston baseball team starts losing, all of a sudden you get what these guys are doing in their free time.
I wish I had a tail.
That was the best one you've done. It was still terrible. It was still no, it was terrible.
It was so terrible. I didn't know what he was doing.
Yes, that's often the case. It should be on Stugotz's tombstone.
Uncle Fatty's new water world isn't going to pay for itself.
Imagine on the tombstone.
He gave me this watch.
I mean,
the watch.
Just keep it to one word. I mean, that's better. You could disguise it like disguises watermelon under fruit.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah. Watch, just one word. The watch. I mean, but I think anybody can do that.
The watch.
In fact, I will test it right now. I'll prove it. 786-456-4837. Will all of you sound like Christopher Walken? We take nothing but Christopher Walken impersonations. Next. I think we've done that show before.
We can do that, or we can play a Stugotz restaurant reservation.
Is it? Oh, it's been cleared.
Oh, wow.
Whatever you prefer.
Oh, that's a good tease.
I got to tell you, it was really bad. It's probably the worst one we've done.
That's a good tease. Yeah. Christopher Walken calls next.
Watch.
Don Batard.
Didn't you say you were going to clean up your diet today so that you would be more alert and just better at this in general?
I jogged today. I ate healthy today. And by healthy, I had a pepperoni pizza.
I was going to say, you made Chris Cody order you a pepperoni pizza.
It's healthier than what I had on Friday, man. Baby steps.
Stugotz.
Stugotz.
A little pepperoni pizza, Dan.
You promised on all. You promised.
Do you know the health benefits of pizza?
This is the Don Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
All right, if you're not familiar, for the uninitiated, the way that Stugotz works, it's in the shadows, it's covered in slime, it's a scam, an angle, an agenda around every corner. He is exceptional at getting what he wants through any means necessary.
Thank you.
So what he does every year, and it's cringeworthy, but it's also funny. It is the rare thing around here that is consistently funny, even as it's super cringeworthy, because this is not really an exaggeration. This is how Stugotz does things like this. This restaurant reservation is in Boston, and he wants something for Mother's Day. And what is the reputation of this restaurant, Mike?
Oh, it's a very sterling reputation. Unfortunately, we can't name the restaurant. The restaurant and the people that we've spoken to on this call, they've all been redacted, all the names, to protect the innocent.
When we do these, we go for the most difficult restaurant in that city to get into. And for Mother's Day, this is the most difficult restaurant to get into in that city. But this started by me telling you I do this all the time. Like I said, I told you one time I dropped your name to get a reservation without you knowing. Yeah,
it's all awful.
And then you said you wanted to hear it on air.
That's right. So turn it into profit. So here it is, and that's not a joke. What Mike is saying there is we've had to eliminate some things here because the restaurant didn't want portions of this on air. But know that it's real. Know that Stugotz did it today before the show, and know that Stugotz is undefeated. Never lost.
Good morning. This is... How can I help you?
Hey, how are you?
Good, and yourself?
I'm doing good. Big win last night for the Sox, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Big weekend coming up.
I know, the Celtics, too.
Yeah, and Mother's Day.
Yes.
Yeah, so I have to ask you a big favor, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Your restaurant is my absolute favorite restaurant, period, end of discussion. Okay, so here's the deal. I went to school in Worcester, Massachusetts. You like Worcester at all?
No, I've never been.
Well, don't go, because I am telling you right now, it's what I call the armpit of America, okay?
Okay.
So anyway, here's the deal. I planned the perfect Mother's Day. My wife, who was from Lincoln Sudbury, she is a huge Celtics fan. So I got tickets for us to go to the C's game on Sunday, Game 1, Eastern Conference Finals. The Celtics, they're going to win that series, right? LeBron's a bum?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's a bum. Say it.
Somebody pokes him in the eye, they will.
You know what? You are right, because everyone thinks the Cavs are going to win. But if someone pokes LeBron in the eye, then that's it. That changes the entire series. And then the Celtics win in 5, right?
All righty.
So here's what I need, if you can help me out. So I have tickets to the Celtics game. My wife is very excited. We're going. We're sitting second row, which is very exciting. But I was supposed to make a Mother's Day reservation at your restaurant, and I failed to do so. And I love your restaurant. I really do. The last time I was there with Rob Ninkovich. Do you know Ninkovich?
No.
You don't know Ninkovich? He's a legendary linebacker for the Patriots, special teams guy.
What time are you looking for, sir?
Well, I'm looking for 8 people at around 12:30. Prime time, baby.
12. We don't have. Hold on 1 minute, okay?
Let me tell you something, though. Okay, hold on. Before you go. How does she not know Rob Ninkovich? Who doesn't know the Ninkoviches?
The only opening we have around that time is we could try to get you in the ballroom, and that would be at the 11:30 seating.
Yeah, that's going to be that's a bit tricky. So the ballroom. So 11:30 in the ballroom. Is that what you're saying?
Room.
Yeah, maybe this will help matters out. I hate doing this, but I got to do it. I am Clark University's all-time leading scorer in lacrosse. I hold every record. I mean, I graduated 20 years ago, and I still have all the records, every one of them. I am top in points, number 1 in goals, number 1 in assists, points per game.
Okay.
I'm a legend up there.
Yes, it's Mother's Day, though.
Yeah, I understand.
realize we have 1,000 reservations.
I do understand that, but I'm hoping you can help me out. Like, I'll do anything. I'll do anything. I'm serious. I'll do anything. Let me try this.
First of all, we don't have a 12:30 seating.
Oh, you don't?
We don't even have one.
Why not?
Because we don't, sir.
So what are the seatings? Tell me the seatings.
The seatings are 1 and 1:30, and right now they're completely sold out. We do have an opening at 11:30 in the ballroom.
Yeah, but I need this to flow right into the C's game. So the way, listen, there's no easy way for me to do this, and maybe you'll need to talk to a manager or the owner, whatever you need to do, Bev. Okay.
Why don't I let you talk to the manager?
Well, hold on
1 minute. Speaking.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you, sir?
I'm hoping you can help me out. I'm doing well, thank you. It's an angel. She is a sweetheart. Let me tell you, you got a great employee there, okay?
Okay, so you're looking for brunch, correct?
Yeah, here's the deal, okay? So I didn't want to tell this, but I got to tell you, okay? I host one of the biggest radio and TV shows in America. In fact, it's the biggest. It's on ESPN. My name is Stugotz. I do the show with Dan Batard. We have the biggest show on TV and on radio, and I am willing, if you guys can help me out here, I need a table for 8 prime time. If you can help me out here, I am willing to promote your restaurant like crazy. I just need to get this table or else. I don't even know. I don't even know what else. The what else might be, the end of my marriage.
Okay, so you were interested. You wanted to come at 12:30.
Yeah, if you could do it. I mean, we're insanely popular in Boston. We are insanely popular. I mean, Kirk and Callahan, they love us. The Shaughnessy's love us. Bob Ryan is my boy.
Okay, so I can do 12:30. Unless you wanted to come earlier, I could fit you in.
No, 12:30 that's prime time, baby. 12:30 is perfect. It flows right into the C's game. Are you going to the Celtics game, by the way?
No, I'll be here until 7 o'clock.
Oh, you will. I mean, how about this Bledsoe? He's made himself the entire story, huh? You seen this where Drew Bledsoe has become the entire story?
Yeah,
it's about the Celtics, not about Bledsoe, right?
I know.
Has he been to the restaurant before, Bledsoe?
No, not that I'm aware.
What about Scary Terry?
I've only been working.
Oh, okay. How about Rozier? Has he
I've
ever
only
been
been working here for like an hour.
Oh, okay. So listen, here's the deal. Yeah, if we could do 8 at 12:30, that's perfect. And as long as you guys are okay with this. So when Euclid comes, he's the Greek god of walks. He just likes to walk around the restaurant and he hands out single roses to all the moms at the restaurant. Are you cool with that? That's why they call him the Greek god of walks. He likes to walk around restaurants. He hands out roses.
I mean, I don't see a problem with that. Okay. I would have to just double check. I mean, I don't know why that would be an issue. We hand out roses as well. So
oh, you guys,
a lot of roses.
Well, what a nice touch to have Yuki hand them out, though, right? Like he'll take your roses.
That is a nice touch.
I could do that for you. That's what I'm saying. And Trot, Nick, that's why they call him Trot, by the way. He trots around the restaurant and he just hands out roses. So I'll have Yuki walk around and I'll have Nixon trot around and they'll both be handing out roses to all the moms.
That's perfect.
Oh, that's so great. What do you think's going on with Brady, by the way? What do you think's going to happen there, Brady? I like talking sports. That's what I do for a living. What do you think about Brady? Huh?
Nothing, really.
Oh, you don't like him. I said, are you from that area? Listen, this is our secret. Do you not like Tom Brady?
Mm-hmm. I'm I'm fine. I'm fine.
Okay,
I'm Tom Brady.
I know you're busy. You're busy.
I'm going to confirm your reservation now. I'm assuming you're going to be here. But
Yes.
I just need a phone number to put on file.
Yeah, no problem. I am notoriously great at commitment, but let me get you this phone number here. I want to give you the right number. It is 954 TRO.
Okay.
TYAZ. I mix Trot and Yaz. They're my two favorite Boston athletes ever. That's how I do it. All right, so we're going to be there 12:30. We're really looking forward to it. Again, I got engaged there. This means the world to me, so this is unbelievable. And my wife is very excited. I'm assuming it's, I'm bringing all these people and it's comped?
No.
Okay. All right, so listen, anyway, thank you so much. We appreciate it. I'll see you at 12:30, okay?
All right.
You are the foulest thing in the history of food.
Look at all the stuff I'm bringing with me.
You got to beat the man.
Woo! Got a guy trotting around, handing out roses, walking around.
Sounds like a fantastic time.
That's why they call him Trot.
Don Le Batard.
It's Friday. I'm getting into the weekend. I want to get my drink on.
Stugotz.
We've got to open up the club. Open it. Open it. Open it. Now. What is the computer buffering? There it is.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
We're going to open up the club in a second here at Le Batard Show on Twitter. We're going to update the polls, and we're going to sprinkle in some Amin Elhassan in here as well. Stugotz, what do you have on the polls?
The Twitter poll at Le Batard Show is brought to you by JCPenney. Shop gifts for all the moms in your life at JCPenney. Save up to 70% off fine jewelry after an extra 20% off with JCPenney credit cards and coupon style and value for all. Again, at Le Batard Show on Twitter. Are you here for Bad Boys 3? 52% of the audience said yes.
I mean, give us 30 seconds here on the fallacy of caping up for an assistant coach.
It's funny to me when I hear fans and even media members say this person's going to be a great coach when you really don't have any evidence as an assistant coach unless they've head coached somewhere. The only reason why a media person would say that about an assistant coach is because they talk to them.
Oh, wow. Dirty little secret. Yeah. Media bias.
Did the Fast and the Furious teach us how to use the number in the movie title? I think you're right on this. I mean, 63% of the audience said yes.
Thank you.
Why are you mad at Stugotz for stealing your Brad Stevens point?
Oh, because everyone's falling over themselves about Brad Stevens, and rightfully so. He's an amazing coach. But we all know how this goes. If they don't win a championship in the next 3 years, he's overrated. What has he ever done? And so I'm like, I'm going to be the first one on this. And when I was thinking it, Stugotz said it on air. And I was like, damn.
He's faster to criticism than anyone. He's the wildest. He's the fastest gun in the hot take West.
One step ahead. I did give you credit on SportsCenter today for the Kyrie Irving take, traded for Kawhi Leonard.
He did. Yes. Well, I didn't give you credit. He admitted to stealing it.
Yeah, that's
What else we got on the poll here, Stugotz?
Is Rodney Hood going to be remembered for doing anything in basketball other than refusing to come into a game? 89% of the audience said no.
Keep going, Stugotz.
Okay. Sad clown without makeup. Who wins? Dwayne Casey, 54%.
He got more than Budenholzer.
He did. Now there are reports that Budenholzer is the favorite to take over that job.
Oh, you got to have a sad clown. If you're the Raptors, you got to put a sad clown on the sidelines without makeup.
Does fried chicken without the skin still taste like fried chicken? 84% of the audience said no.
You people don't know what you're talking about.
Footloose, in retrospect, not a great idea? 66% of the audience said yes. Which song would you least want to hear while alone in a cornfield at midnight?
That's a big one.
This is the big one of the day. Our leader right now, Bobby McFerrin, Don't Worry, Be Happy, with 26% of the vote.
Let's open up the club for the weekend. We do it at the end of every week, an assortment of sounds from the week to remind you nostalgically about what you laughed at. Let's do it. So we used to do this in the afternoons, 4 o'clock. That's when the show was on, 4 p.m. Eastern. It'd be happy hour time on Friday. Now we do it earlier. It's 9:51 Pacific. But still, the club is open. Who is the first sound we're welcoming into the club?
It's green right now, but it's not as green as that green I'm about to hit tomorrow.
All right, so we don't know if J.R. Smith was talking about golf or marijuana. You can take your guess. Next sound. Yes, of course.
The killer's coming.
Yes, that is the knife. That is the sound you hear throughout Miami when anyone needs a knife sharpened. I think you got got to do it so that people can feel it, Guillermo. Put your brown stamp on this. As the sound gets made, you be the driver of the truck. That's the way you do it. Who else is in the club?
Alouette, jonte, alouette, alouette, jonte, plumerie.
That would scare me in a cornfield.
Let's think about this. Oh my God. It's horrifying.
Alouette, jonte, plumerie.
That's a signature move, a machete across your throat. Who else in the club?
John, it's a second straight round where Brett Marchand has licked an opponent.
It was a serious question asked during a serious hockey press conference.
John, it's a second straight round where Brett Marchand has licked an opponent.
Who else is in the club?
I promise you, on everything that's ever meant anything to me in my life, the morals, the values, the virtues by which I've lived for my 28 years on this planet, I did not do this.
That was Ryan Braun's steroid denial, immediately after which it cost him $3 million in 65 games.
If I had done this intentionally or unintentionally, I'd be the first one to step up and say, I did it.
Yeah, not so much. Urinalysis. What is it? Urinalysis?
Yeah, I think so. Dino Lorenzi is his name.
Yeah, Braun accused him of being an anti-Semite.
But they had dinner.
Right. And all was well with the Hebrewer. Who else is in the club?
We got good luck on our side. It rained.
Gotta remember.
That's the sign of rain and victory.
That, of course, is Flo Rida predicting that the Miami Heat would win in the finals because it rained.
We got good luck on our side. It rained.
Gotta remember.
That's the sign of rain and victory.
Skip Bayless asked a lot of follow-up questions, very journalistically. Who else in the club?
Who's your source on that?
No, it's the streets.
Who's your source on that?
The streets.
Oh, wait a minute. That was not Flo Rida. That was DJ Khaled.
The streets.
Another one.
Who else?
The streets.
Who else is in the club? Whose laugh is that?
Big Ben.
Oh, that's Ben Roethlisberger laughing at his own joke.
Hoping others would laugh back at him, and no one did. He was just left alone laughing.
Alone. Yeah. Who else is in the club?
Stuffed peppers. Peppers. Peppers.
You got variants, man. You got change-ups, fastballs. Who else?
Bill, don't. Bill, do not do this, Bill.
They're passing around
Yes,
here.
they are.
Get out of here! I have nowhere to go!
And then he farted in fear.
You can listen to the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz 10 to 1 Eastern on ESPN Radio, and you can watch on ESPN News.